Thank you for having me here, especially thanks to Leif Laaksonen, I can't pronounce names, and Peter Wittenberg, because we just started an email conversation and they simply said, why don't you come over here? And it was of interest to me, and here I am. And we think that this is quite a significant event, and it has had a good start so far. So I have been given 3 questions, and I hope I could address them through this brief presentation that I'll make today. And these 3 terms that I have used have come together only in this title. They have not come together in India. Data is by itself, data repositories are by itself, and interoperability, I do not know where it is. So I come from the Indian Statistical Institute, established way back in 31 and declared as an institute of national importance in India. To give a little bit of background to digital libraries, digital repositories and data work in India, we started around 2002, which was quite late, and it took off quite gradually. 2006 we were at 20 and now about 92 reported repositories, but there are many more which have sensitive data. They are not online. Some people did not bother to register, but the number should be a little above that. So this is how it shows in the row site, the gradual growth of repositories in India. And there are different types. If you can notice, those are something like theses or preprints and learning objects and this kind of repositories. To give a few examples of the really big projects that we had in India funded by the government, one of them is the National Mission for Manuscripts, where we had about 500,000 records which were digitized, and we had layers of IR over this and even tried to build semantics over this. This was one large project. The other one is the ETD project from an apex body called InflibNet and the University of Mysore, and some private, some of the institutes, they themselves have the ETD repositories. So why I really started talking about document repositories, though this whole conversation today is about data repositories, is to really tell the truth that though we started repositories about 10 years back in India, I can only say that we partially succeeded, but we partially failed. Because we did not have the clout we need to really win over the commercial publication modus. So we ended up with a lot of repositories which are something like theses and dissertations and preprints, but really did not motivate scientists to deposit publications for lack of mandate maybe. Though there was not lack of trying, there was lack of mandate. But at last for data there is good news. In a major decision, the Government of India mandated that data out of publicly funded research projects and organization is to be made open. So this is exactly why I started with the repositories, and certainly the failures we had with document repositories have given us some very important lessons as we look forward towards data repositories. So this data made open must be found, if I am right, at a site called opendata.gov.in, and if you go there you won't find much at all. So the reason for this is when data is declared to be made open, we see that both as an opportunity and as a challenge in India. There is data, it's not as though we do not have. There are some national apex bodies in India which are directly funded by our federal government. These are called councils. There's a Council for Medical Research, Indian Council for Agricultural Research, the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, and so on and so forth. So all these research organizations have been funded over the decades, and they really are sitting on some data or the other. So there is an opportunity here, but also there are the challenges because this is in any form, any format, any architecture, and they don't have a clue how to go forward, even if we simply opened a site overnight called opendata.gov.in and then got it inaugurated by who is who of India. But we really don't know where to go from there. So The issues are at different levels. Say, if we take the interoperability, and we want to achieve seamless access to content, so we have to achieve interoperability at those different levels: technical, maybe the syntactic issues, semantic, and of course the administrative and organizational issues. In technical, we have to agree upon the metadata and have a universal, I do not know, syntactic structure for exchange of data, and thus minimize the overheads for normalization, crosswalks, and what all we have been doing at the time of document repositories over and over again. The other major issue, of course, is about building semantics, and whenever we talk about data, they say data is all symbols and numbers, and where does semantics come into picture? But we realize that this has got a big role to play when we are going to present the data in forms that communities understand, communities reuse this data tomorrow. So we have to start thinking about building semantics around these layers. Maybe think of ontological supports, just like we did ontology supports till today for the document repositories through domain modeling. So to sum up the issues and challenges, of course, we could say they are infrastructural, networking, standards and interoperability. In a country like India, which has got, I think, more languages than whole of Europe put together. So multilingual data and its interoperability becomes a problem and a challenge. And of course, there is the problem of competency issues, because overnight there is a mandate from the government. Where do we find the people to man these operations that are required? There is competency issues also over there. So from Indian Statistical Institute, we have worked to a certain extent on maybe different facets of these challenges. We participated into the EU FET project called the Living Knowledge project, where we deployed faceted ontologies for representation of diversity along different dimensions, the topical, temporal, and spatial dimensions, and this was used within the projects for opinions and bias detection. We have an application built around that for media content analysis to state our own experience. And at present, we are participating into what is called the AgInfra project. It is in the agricultural domain. Our friend Johannes Kaiser is here from UNFAO, who we are working with in this project. And this is to empower or bring about a data infrastructure to support agricultural scientific communities, promote data sharing and development of trust within these communities, which is, of course, a tall task given the nature of agricultural domain, whether we talk about scientists or whether we talk about grassroots level. It's so varying across the world. So there are certainly huge challenges before us as we are exploring into this project. And I have a few points written down over here. Yeah, the last point they asked me to cover was what is it that we are looking at within RDA. As you see from my presentation, the hopes and the apprehensions are the same that have been going around this room from morning. So if I tell in India that there is a mandate and we have a very good data infrastructure, hum along if I say, I think dead silence is what I'll get, okay, to be very honest. So people are still very perplexed about, they're very happy, of course we are very happy there's finally a mandate, because in the document repository scenario we did not have a mandate till today. There's finally a mandate, that's good, but after that there's no more humming, there's just work to do. So that's what we are that's where we are at. So why RDA is of interest to us is with all the supporting documents that we've been reading, what we realize is it really has a global perspective, as evident from the panel that is over here. The other important point is, yes, they have on their mind about diverse data, that data is diverse and there is something that we need to do about this. And yes, there is talk about an infrastructure that is ecological, that does not leave sort of a graveyard of dead technologies or techniques or whatever we have. And yes, we are looking for really good value additions to data sets. So these are the significant takeaways we maybe good to India or Indian perspective. That's all I had to share with you. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. There's indeed an immense resource in India which is only starting to be exploited. I'm actually going there on Wednesday to look